Hey guys, thought I would do a little video. Cat wanted to be in it. Doing a handle for like a small coffee scoop. We'll start with one video for the handle. We'll do a video for the bowl of scoop, and we'll just kind of see where we go from there. So I guess first things first. Notice I have my safety glasses on. I also normally wear ear protection. This gets a little loud. My daughter actually has them on while she's filming this. But since I'm talking to you guys, I need to be able to hear how loud I'm talking, especially over the forge noise. I won't be wearing those today. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully I won't be totally freaking deaf. Okay, let's light the forge and get her going. Guys, I also normally when I'm forging, I have the lights off in here so I can see the colors in the material a little better. We're going to skip that today just because I want you to be able to see me. So it's going to take just a second for this piece to heat up. I'm using 1/4 inch square stock. This is just a short cutoff piece. Put that in the fire, let it get warm, and these are called wolf jaw tongs. You might be able to see the indentations there, kind of look like wolf teeth. These are a good kind of all-purpose pair of tongs for grabbing stuff out of the fire. Obviously, with a short bar like this, I don't want to use my bare hand. If I was using a longer piece of stock, something like that, I'd just use my bare hand on it, and it's only going to heat up to about here. If it gets too hot, I can always dip it in the mag tank. That is like the nastiest. That's my mag tank, my quench tank. It's just a bunch of nasty in there, man. It never gets drained or changed. It just gets added to. So there's like probably that much nasty algae and junk in the bottom of that. It's pretty awesome. So the first thing we're going to do when I pull this out of the fire is I'm going to do a short taper on the one end. Kind of draw that out so we can just put like a little decorative rat tail on there. And there we go. We'll give it a shot. We'll have to take a couple heats because the amble's cold. I'm going to get it right to the far edge of the anvil so I'm not smashing my anvil. I don't want my hammer to hit the anvil. I want it to hit the piece. I'm just drawing a real short point on this right now. Now it's down to a black heat. When it gets to a black heat, I just kind of use that heat to straighten things back up, dress them up a little bit, put it back in the fire. I normally don't leave my tongs on stuff, but I'm going to today just for simplicity. Normally you don't want your tongs to heat up because a lot of times those are made of a medium or higher carbon steel. And if you were to stick them in the mag tank there, you don't want to crack your tongs or your rivets that hold the tongs together. Okay? We'll let that heat back up. We'll draw this point out a little bit more. Keep things nice and smooth. You notice I'm rotating. I tend to do like 2 blows. Then rotate. Now that I've got that pointed nice, I'm just going to kind of draw that out. It's a little tough talking and my cadence is a little off. Normally I'm 2 blows and switch, 2 blows and switch. I'm a little off. Just trying to talk to you guys while I do it. A little bit foreign to me. I've never really done that before, so let's see how it goes. Worst thing we can do is just screw it all up, right? Now I'm just going to work this point. Make it longer. Again, take my black heat, just use it to dress things heads up. You never want to leave big, ugly hammer marks in something. I need to get a little bit more of a point on there. No biggie though for what I'm doing. Okay? And hopefully we can get this whole thing in one video. YouTube, or at least with my iPad, it doesn't like me to upload anything that's more than like 15 minutes or so right now. So I got a nice point on there. I'm just going to kind of tweak that a little bit. Now I'm going to hold it on the angle. I'm going to turn that square point into an octagon. And then just going to round this out nice. I'm going to put it back in the fire, take one more heat, round that out a little bit more. So we got a nice smooth round on there, and then we'll go ahead and we'll put a little rat tail in there, and then we'll move on from there. This is a pretty standard the way to end like a handle or something like that, so you don't have a point on the end, you don't have a big ugly square end. And you notice that my tong hand, I'm keeping that moving all the time. So in a way it's sort of like TIG welding where you're doing more than one thing at a time. That's a really nice long drawn out point, nice and even. Not a lot of ugly hammer marks in there, which is great. None really that I see. And I'm going to use these little baby round nose pliers. And we're just going to put a little whoop-de-doo in there, or however many whoop-de-doos we want to put in there, right? Alright, so I'm just going to grab it. Do that, and then I want to center it a little bit, so I'm bending it back that way. We got that. Alright, and then what I'm actually going to do is go ahead and quench that point a little bit. This is low carbon steel, so it's not hurting it. Dip it in the mag tank there. And I think I'm going to flip this guy around. Actually, yeah, because we're not, I don't think I want it this long. I'm not sure what we're making here yet. I think we're going to make a little coffee scoop. Those are pretty popular right now. We're going to heat it right in here, and I'm going to chop it off on the Hot Tub Hardy over here. Actually, I'll do it on the anvil here so you guys can see it as soon as I find it. I'm going to crank my gas up. This tank is running out of gas. It's getting really low. You can smell the odor in it. That's how you normally know. So I got to keep turning it up. Just trying to use what's left in that tank. While we wait for that to get really hot, this hammer is called a diagonal peen hammer. You have the flat, and then you have this is at an angle rather than being horizontal or vertical like this one. They all have their own jobs. I use this angle peen a lot. This is my favorite hammer. I actually had this made by a hammer maker. Okay, so I'm going to set it on here right where I want it. Give it a couple blows. Turn it. And you guys see I didn't have to go to the chop saw. I didn't have to use a grinder. None of that. Boom, I'm back in the fire. So that's what a Hot Tub Hardy does. Pretty handy, huh? And what we're going to do with this end is we're just going to flatten it out a little bit so that it will accommodate the bowl of a spoon. And I'm going to use this damping block as a swage block to make the end conform to what the bowl of that coffee scoop will be. That's way over here, though. First, we'll flatten it out. Now I'm going to grab a different hammer. This is a rounding hammer. It has a rounded face, one flat face, one round face, and that's actually going to drive this metal get even blows. I get a fairly even look to it. If you don't get what you like, you can always take a file to it. Oops, clean it up just a little bit. But normally, it's not very necessary. So we got a nice little round there. I might do a little bit more on that. With this smaller stuff, you don't want to overwork it, especially once it gets to a black heat. If you overwork it, you can actually break pieces off. You don't want to do that. The other thing, while that's heating up, when you're holding a hammer, if any of you guys go to do any blacksmithing work, unless you're doing really, really fine work, just really briefly, don't put your thumb along the spine of that hammer like that. I see a lot of people do that. That's actually going to cause you to get tendonitis really freaking bad. And it's a natural instinct to do it. Because it gives you a lot of control. And any wavering or anything in here that we get, like this side's a little bigger, so I'm going to take a file a little later or a grinder and I'll just tweak that off. So now what we're going to do is get it hot again. I'm going to go over to the damping block and I'm going to grab a raising hammer and I'm just going to form that just a little bit to that bowl so that later on when I go to rivet rivet in the actual coffee scoop, the copper scoop, then I have a nice mating surface for that. I might have to tweak it a little bit, but for the most part, it should match. I'm going to have to do it like that because it wants to work towards me. So there, all I want to do is get rid of a little bit of that bend. Go ahead, kiddo. My camera person here, she's doing a great job for having no official training.
And a small space.
For the most part, that's going to do it for that. But that's no fun, right? So what we've got, let me dip this in the mag tank here. Always in a blacksmith shop, just like a welding shop, assume it's freaking hot. So don't go grabbing stuff, all right? So what we got, yeah, it's cute. We got a little curl, got the little area, but let's make it more cooler, right? Let's go ahead and put some twists or something in here. Let's make it fun. So I'm gonna pop that back in the fire. Get my tongs out of there. Get rid of the raising hammer. Adjustments on the vise. And my twisting wrenches, which you see are just old square jaw wrenches with handles welded on. I've got this one, and I've got a ginormous one. And these are pretty darn handy. Right before I do that, I'm going to give just a little bit more of a never mind. More of a flat right there, just for giggles. Why am I widening that out? Well, at some point I'm going to want to put my maker's mark on there, my touch mark. I kind of forgot about that, so I'm going to pop it back in. Like I said, doing this on camera is a little weird. Trying to remember where I'm at, but talk to you guys at the same time is strange to say the least. We're going to put some twists in this, and that'll end this particular video. Okay, and then we'll come back to it later. So you see this dude is just glowing hot right now. I'm going to put in the vise. I'm going to grab it. Here, I'll get on this side. Do an opposite of what I normally do. Grab it in here. And spin it right around. Just for giggles. That looks pretty good to me. Of course, I can't get the wrench off when you guys are looking. Now, the other thing I want to do, whenever you twist something like that, Yeah, it tends to go a little crooked. So I'm going to use my vice jaws to straighten that up a little bit. I'm actually going to come over here. This vice has narrower jaws, so it's great for stuff like this. My tongs are kind of getting in my way. Fudge. That's okay. And that looks pretty centered to me. I'll look at it that way. That's nice. Actually, I really like that. The only thing I'm going to do, go on the other side of the anvil there, Kenna, is get a really good hold on it. And what I want to do is get this warm, and I'm using a rawhide mallet now because I don't want to put hammer marks all over our twists. So I'm going to use a rawhide mallet, and I'm going to give it just a really slight curve over the horn of this anvil so it has a nice feel to it if you were to pick it up and use it. Then we'll put the, it's not getting real hot here, then we'll put our touch mark on it, and we'll call that good. These hammers out of the way. Just going to really lightly and then I'm going to reflex that back up so we have a nice sweep. We're going to hit it with a wire brush real quick. This is a heavier than normal wire brush. This is the butcher block brush. It takes the scale off really well. Now what I'm going to do, punch that real quick, and flip it around. Put that in the fire. Get my touch mark. And it might mess up my that radius a little bit. I probably should have touch marked it first, but again, my head's a little bit in a different space because I've never had to do this before like this. And just talking while I do it, I normally have my methods and I stick with them. In this particular case, I want to make sure it's not upside down. And I'm doing this wrong-handed. Ah, shit. We're going to double mark that one. Alright. When you do that with a coin, it's worth more money later, right? So that's it. We have a nice little handle. The touch mark did kind of double register there, but that's okay. Cool, that's it. Hope you guys liked it, and we